I'm the head of the Office of Career Services, and we are with the admin of Office of Career Services, that's Madam Wajiro, who is assisting on the other side. And this evening, we welcome all the members on board, the students, and this is part of DeKUT Talks, webinar series, in which we are trying to prepare the students for the world of work. And one way to do that is to get them exposed to information as much as possible that would be useful in their lives, even as they seek employment, and even as they innovate, and even as they create jobs in whatever areas they end up. So this evening, we are privileged to have one of the facilitators with us. That is Otieno Paul Peter. And I will just to give a brief bio. And he is an inspiring public speaker, life skills educator, a leadership coach, a team building facilitator, a strategist, business and ICT consultant. He's an author and a father. He loves everything he does and believes in making your passion your business. Paul holds a Bachelor of Science degree in physics, that is applied electronics and microcomputer systems, and a Master of Science in information systems from the University of Nairobi, plus a host of other certifications in IT, management of learning, team building, and leadership from other institutions. Besides this rich background, he ceaselessly keeps studying and researching privately in the fields of philosophy, spirituality, leadership, natural science, metaphysics, technology, business, and investments. He loves to understand how things work and what makes them work. Otieno is a natural educator who generously shares ideas and information at every opportunity he gets. Otieno has previously worked as a trainer and also as a technical support engineer with IAT and Africa Online, respectively, where he was endeared to his customers before choosing to take early retirement in order to pursue his full-time passion in capacity building and business support in the year 2010. Otieno is the founder of ICT Gurus East Africa Limited, which puts people and business online through reliable, dependable, and secure email and web hosting services, plus ICT consultations and support with special interest in SMEs and startups. In his quest to always empower people to achieve their goals in life, he founded Live Your Dream Enterprises Limited, a company specializing in leadership and sales training, business strategies, team building, and personal development coaching. His personal mission is to empower people to live their dreams. Otieno is the author of one of the most recommended books for anyone with the dreams to achieve, Live Your Dreams in 7 Ds, achieving the life you desire, one step at a time, and a powerful leadership book entitled The Making of a Symphony Orchestra, Timeless Leadership, both of which are currently available on Amazon and Kindle. The books are printed by Lighting Source in UK, and he is currently working on his third title, Lazy, Smart, Strong Fools. That is a bio for our facilitator this evening, and I want to take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Paul. You have some few minutes to speak with or to us and our students. Paul, if you are ready, you can take the floor or the space. Thank you and welcome. Paul.
Thank you very much, Mr. Njoroge. I'm very much pleased to be here with you and share with you a few things. And very pleased to talk to students. It's always my passion. And good evening, everyone. I don't know if I'll be able to share screen. Am I able to do that?
Yes, I've made you a presenter. You can try and share.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I hope it's visible.
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much. Now, I'd just like to say that the assignment I was given by Madam Esther Kaburu was developing life skills and soft skills for the world of work. Of course, that sounds quite a large area to cover also within the minutes that we have. And so I've tried to condense it into some few tips that we are going to share and discuss this evening. And of course, you heard that my name is Otieno Paul Peter. So I called it, I view life skills and soft skills that we are talking about as the reason why graduates fail. And it's all that makes the difference. And if you are going to live your dream, then you have no choice. Actually, there is a big tragedy that maybe some of us know about, and that is we are told that an average graduate is about 25 years old. So when people are graduating at age 25, they have great hopes, they have great dreams, they are optimistic about the future, and they expect that life is going to be just great. But generally, what happens if you look at them 40 years later, that is at around the age of 65, if you trace the very same graduates, then what you get might be a bit shocking, because it's said that just 1% is successful and happy. Yes, doing what he wants to do, living the life he wants to live, and very happy and contented. The other 4% are rich and contented. They are really not where they want to be, but they are rich. At least they are living a contented life. They know that they could do more. And 5% still have to work to survive. And that's why you'll see some people always cling to work even to very old age, not because they love what they're doing, not because they don't have, not because they really want to do it, but it's because if they don't work, then they are not going to live. They are not going to be able to eat, to put meals on the table and something like that. And then there is this other majority of people who are dead broke and need to depend on others, usually their children or some well-wishers or the government. And this is what we see in majority of people. I remember when I was in secondary school, I would see some old mzee. He would come and do some little work in the gardens, helping people to take care of the farms. And I pitied him because he didn't look like he could even afford his own medicine. He was sickly, and whenever he's sick, he's unable to come. But sometimes when he would come for such works, his payment would be maybe a tin or two of maize and some little money to grind it and things like that. And I kept wondering, is this really the life that people live after work? I listened to some people who kept saying, you see, when I was working, I used to help people, I helped so and so get jobs, but nowadays I'm abandoned. And I was wondering, does it mean that after working for so many years, 30, 40 years, people have to depend on others? But that is the majority that we see. And 35% are literally dead. They are no more. And largely because of things that could be avoided. Maybe they did not have the money to take care of their medication. They did not have proper care and something like that. So it's a big thing. It's a big thing that we see today. We walk around and see graduates looking for jobs. Last week, as I was passing around State House Road, just next to State House, I saw some graduate who had written a small board and wrote his name and said, I have a BCom in whatever, and lots of other things, and said, I don't have a job, I need a job. And that's a scene that we are quite familiar with. I see a lot of people sending applications. The question is that what should be? And this is shocking. It's not something that we want to listen to. That despite our qualifications, despite the time that we take in college, there seems to be some missing link. And by the way, that's really why we are here. This is the reality. You get a degree, that is one thing. Living out of that degree comfortably is yet another thing. It's not enough. First class does not necessarily guarantee you are going to be at the top of the class in life, because those are two different ball games. And what makes the difference is this thing that we are talking about: life skills, the soft skills, the ability to cope outside school environment, the ability to make decisions, the ability to be able to live together with people and solve problems. These things are much more important, in fact, and that is where education begins. We call it self-education. In fact, it's said academics or formal education will earn you a living, but self-education will earn you a fortune. Yes? So that's why Live Your Dream exists, and that's basically what we help people in acquiring, trying to bridge the gap between academic qualifications and now actually living your dream. And we do that through equipping people and inspiring them with practicable soft skills, practicable skills that enable them to be to do this evening. So a few things, what it takes. And one is, we are told that success is 90% why and 10% how. And that's why I started by that particular tragedy. The moment we know why we need to do something, how somewhat sorts out itself. You see? And so we need to know, why do we need these particular skills? If we know already that, we will be able to go look for them and get them. And so largely, we always need to address a why. And there are three ways. One is to ask. Yes, we are told, ask and it shall be given to you. Problem is, enough times we don't ask enough. We just ask 1, 2, 3 times, we give up. Ask, seek, and you will find. How many times do you need to seek? Where do you need to seek? We are not told. We're just told to seek. And that means there are no boundaries. We must keep seeking, we must keep asking and knocking the doors. We don't knock once, twice and give up. So it is ask. If you can see, the abbreviation is ASK still. Ask, seek, and knock. And we will be able to get that which we want. The moment we know why, the moment we have the drive, the moment we know why we need all these skills or why we need what we want. And we need to know, there is a philosophy I came up with. And this is something that you can always remember. I always love to say that whenever you're doing it, whenever you're using it, please remember to quote me, because I came up with it. That R is given by T plus A, where R is results, the results that we want in life, the results that we want of ourselves, the results that we want to see are given by T, which is thoughts, the thoughts that we think. And do you know what forms our thoughts? Our thoughts are formed by two things, knowledge and beliefs. Knowledge and the feelings that we have, the attitude. We can have all the knowledge, but if the attitude is wrong, we still get a wrong result. And then A is activities, the activity that we get involved in, what we do. In other words, what we get is determined by what we think plus what we do. And so when we get wrong results, when we get those results that we do not want, then guess whom we got to go to? We've got to look at ourselves. We've got to look at self. You don't look at your neighbor. You don't look at your boss. You do not look at your president or your government. You do not look at your MCA. You do not look at your principal. You look at yourself. Your results are going to be determined by the thoughts that you think and the activities that you get involved in. There is no better way to see it. And by the way, there is a reason I put R first. I could say T plus A equals R, but I chose that R first because we need to start by getting clear about the results that we want to achieve. And so clarity of your goals and dreams is an important step. If you are not clear about what you're going to do outside college, if you're not clear about whether you want to be in employment or you want to be in business or whatever, you are not going to get it. If you are not clear about the type of job you're going to get, the industry you're going to play in, it will be difficult. I meet people and they say, any job, any opportunity, there is nothing like any. The first step you have to take is get very clear about what you want. I remember when we were about to finish college, many institutions would come with aptitude tests, like the banks, the Standard Bank, Barclays Bank, PwC came, and people were applying for aptitude tests. I didn't apply. I didn't even bother because I knew that's not the industry I want to play in. You see, I've always been clear by design or by default. I always choose clearly what I want, and for some reason, they've always worked for me. And I later learned that is a very big step. And if you think the right thoughts and you do the right things, you're definitely going to get the results that you want. So we must learn and keep learning. Learning never ends. A friend of mine said, it is when you feel you've known it all that you start learning. Most of us, when we finish college, end of story, end of reading. All that we're going to read is the newspaper or some other WhatsApp, some other social media, some other gossip around. We do not read things that build our minds. We stop growing. We stop trotting. A friend of mine in Uganda said, if you realize that a day will come from the morning to the evening without learning something, then you know you're growing old. So remember this, very important for you. You don't get stuck. Don't be stuck anywhere. Don't be stuck in a particular profession. This is very important to know. You may have a degree, for example, in mathematics, but nobody told you that everything you're going to do has to be in mathematics. Mathematics will be applicable in very many places. So don't be stuck. Don't feel like that is where you've got to be. I have friends from Chiromo who did all these science courses. I see them all over in the banks. There is no bank, not even one, that I can walk into and fail to get somebody from my college. You see, that's not what they started. I've seen people go to different industries, different domains, and they excel because a degree just opens your mind and it justifies it. It helps people to know that you are teachable, you're trainable, you're somebody who can fit into an environment through some panel beating, because they will always give you some induction, some training to suit their requirements. And so we can't be stuck. Don't feel like I did BCom and that's the end of the story. By the way, I've seen people a lot of people who do education in Kikuyu campus, for example, in the University of Nairobi, don't end up in classroom. So get to know you can always follow your heart. Yes, ants philosophy, that's why I have ants there. Ants don't get stuck. You can erect a block in front of them, they will climb it, they will go around it, they will circumvent it. Get to be very resilient. You don't give up and you don't find a reason to. You see, you must keep trying, you must keep focused on to what you want. The moment you are clear already about what type of life you want to live, about what which area you want to, which part of Kenya or which part of the world you want to live in, just get clear about it and get resilient, get going, do what you can of wherever you are, as long as you can, and keep pushing, and then work harder on yourself, we say. Yeah, you stop working on yourself, you start working on your neighbors, you start working on your boss, on your job, more than you work on yourself, you don't grow. I've seen people going, they will just keep complaining about who is not doing what, about relative who didn't do what, and by the end of the day, they don't grow. We must work on our attitude. We keep working on our attitude. That is a full-time job, if you didn't know. Working on your attitude, working on your thoughts at another level, that's what we call it. On your thoughts, to always keep thinking the right thing, to always keep focusing on the right results. That is a full-time job. So we must work harder on ourselves, work on our communication, work on our relationships, work on our leadership, and all these other things. And then we will grow our value in the marketplace. There are 3 C's to avoid, I always say. Avoid criticism, avoid condemnation, avoid complaining. People who complain don't get far. Israel kept complaining in the desert that they will die in the desert, that the food is wrong, that there is no water, whatever. They all perished in the desert. That's the way it works. Even God himself doesn't contain people who keep complaining. So you must look for solutions instead of complaining. Don't criticize, don't condemn, don't complain. Instead, always look for a reason to be grateful, look for a reason to be on the positive frequency of the mind. And that requires mental toughness, and that's why we say it is a full-time job. And positive expectation. If you do not expect to win, you're not going to win. If you do not expect to get a job, you're not going to get it. If you do not expect to succeed, you won't succeed, because only expectant mothers deliver. We must expect to get, and that's a law. It's a natural law. To expect is to get. If you expect to be sick, you will be sick. If you expect to fail in your exam, you will fail. We must learn to expect the right things, and we will get them. And that's why I say R, which we must be clear about, is given by T plus A. And so, what do we work on? Some people work like the image you can see. Yeah, if you ask them, why didn't you remove this rock? You see, that was not part of the scope of our work. Yeah, it is not part of a job description. We do not do anything more. We just do that which we were told to do, and that's the end of the story. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. There are 2 ways to fail, I'm told. Failing to do what you are told to do, or failing to do more than you are told to do. And so, we need to work on our value in the marketplace. What problem are we solving? What brand are we? Who are we? We must work on our identity. Most of us work on the wrong identity. You go to your social media, the things you post, nobody wants to relate with you, because that is the image that they see this somebody they do not want to work with. They see somebody they do not want to relate with. They do not want to be known, to be with. You see, so we must work on our value in the marketplace, and the more the problems we can solve, the bigger the problem we can solve, the bigger our value in the marketplace, the higher our value in the marketplace. And you know, that means they will pay you more, because you can solve bigger problems. And that's why leaders are always paid more, because they solve bigger problems. You see, so we must work on our values. We must work on our value in the marketplace, on our ability to solve problems, because the world has enough problems to be solved. If we get people like you, Dedan Kimathi University, this is a university known for technology, and you come with technology because the era we are in requires lots of solutions, you will be having a higher value in the marketplace. And by the way, the more people you can work with, the higher the value. And that's why you'll go to institutions and you realize that some people keep just going for masters, going for what, but they are not growing, because they are not growing in the value that really matters. If you are getting more academics, you also need to get into a higher level in your relationship skills, leadership skills, and communication and all these other things. You need to have a skill. Get to know that skills pay. Yeah, a plumber will be paid much better and more frequently than somebody who has no skill and looking for some clerical work, and then maybe is not very good at it. If you are a clerk, you better be very good at it, that they love your skill. They love the way you do this work, the way you do the documentation, you write and all these other things. They want to pay for skill. They are not paying for presence. They are not paying for knowledge. Yeah, they can buy libraries, they can buy dictionaries and everything. They can buy books. They are paying for the ability to solve problems. People are being paid for their skills in the marketplace, in the workplace. And so we must work on what I call the 3 V's that will make all the difference. The 3 V's. And one is the vocation. The vocation, look at your job, look at your contribution to the market as your calling. It is your vocation. It's not just a job to earn your living. It is your contribution to make life better. It is your contribution to humanity. So look at it as a vocation. It's a calling. And it should be, I recommend, something that is really wired into your DNA. It's your passion. If it is engineering, you really love solving, designing problems, designing solutions for various problems. And so it is something that you will always enjoy doing, because if you don't enjoy doing, you will not do much better than what we can see. You will always try to circumvent problems, you see. So vocation, and number 2, vision. Where do you want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now? When I was getting into job industry, I told myself in 5 years, I should be running my own business, because I was really not feeling called to be in the traditional employment. I was feeling like it's going to constrain me. My thoughts, I wanted them to be free. I can think anything and do anything with my life at any point I want. So I knew exactly what I wanted to happen. I knew which area of Nairobi I wanted to live in. I knew I wanted to have a house. I wanted to have this. So I've learned that getting to have a vision of what type of life you want, of how much you want to grow in your career, will be able to help you. And the third thing are values. Values will be able to define whom you are. The character. What do you hold dear? Are you the type who can cheat? Are you the type who has some integrity? People are looking for good people to do business with. People are looking for good people to work with. And it doesn't matter if they are paying you enough or not, because if you have the right values, you have the right attitude and everything, the rest will take care of itself. The world will pay you. In fact, nature does not owe anyone. If you do enough, you will be paid. Soft skills are very important, are very key, and we've said that. And so I'd like to share something that I normally say: everything you touch will turn to gold. Yes, and I believe that most of us would like to touch everything and it turns to gold. Yeah, this is some summary sort of, because we need to come to a conclusion, and then we will be able to have an opportunity to discuss further and ask questions. So everything you touch will turn to gold, and I'm going to give this summary in this form. We want to use a hand, and in this hand, if you look at it, so that you will be able to remember, when you look at your thumb, the strong finger there, think of your character. Think of your character. You must keep working on your character. Remember, people can change, but nobody can change you. You are the one to change yourself. If you have some questionable characters, maybe you're indisciplined, maybe you cannot just keep time when people are supposed to meet somewhere, you will always come late. That becomes your branding. People start knowing you as a latecomer, perennial latecomer. If you're the person who lies, you can't tell the truth anywhere. You cannot grow in leadership, because your character becomes that of a liar. Yes? So you want to grow to a strong character, somebody who can be depended upon, somebody who can be trusted. Everything you say, people will say that is something that can be believed. In fact, They say that if you can reach where whenever you say something, people take it as gospel because they cannot doubt you. You've always said if you say something, you will do it. You say what you mean and you mean what you say. By the way, it doesn't matter whether you are wrong or not. What matters is you can always speak your mind and say the truth, and you have a strong character. Anyone can be wrong at some point or another, but have a character that can be depended upon. You see, not questionable. And that's where you need to work on your timekeeping. You need to work on your communication. You need to work on your attitude. You need to work on building trust around you, building a brand, a believable brand, not a fake brand. I love to tell a story that when I was in year 2, I think so, I took a friend of mine to buy a radio cassette. Those days, people were still not buying laptops. Laptops were foreign. Yeah, they were big things. So people were buying radios. Students would buy radios after paying for school fees with their loans. They get some little money, they buy radios to listen to. So we went downtown, River Road, and not Luthuli Avenue, down, and got some bargain for Sony radio. And we thought it was a good bargain, and we picked it and went with it. But shortly thereafter, this thing kept having power supply burning. And I would open it, try to wire it again, and it wasn't working most times. And then at one point, I just opened it and tried to see what is wrong with this radio. I realized that most of the things were not even connected, including the knob that fine-tunes it. It wasn't turning anything. And we try to portray something else. You go for an interview and you will portray something you are not. And a month later, after you've gotten a job, you reset to your default. You cannot be two people at the same time. You must develop an authentic brand, working on your character, growing in your level of trustworthiness. Commitment, or generally focus. If you look at that second finger, which you use to point, you must be committed to a cause. You cannot be good at everything. You can only be good at a number of things. So you pick a particular cause, commit to it, work on it until you are really a champion in it. Get good at it. Yes? So that you have value. When people want a surgeon, they are not going to pick any other person. They are looking for a lawyer or an advocate for that matter. They are not going to pick any other. They want somebody who can guarantee them success. If you are going to have a heart surgery, you do not want somebody who is going to do it for the first time. You want somebody who is a champion in it. So you must commit to a cause and build a name there. Yes, so you've committed to it. You are committed to, if you choose to pursue something, you will pursue it up to conclusion. You do not just give up anyhow. And thirdly, that tall finger is competence. Sometimes we relate it to brand, competence level. You must be competent in what you're doing. Otherwise, you will not win any admiration. You will not win any top dollar. Yes, you must be competent enough in what you're doing. If you are not competent, you're incompetent, guess what will happen? Nobody wants to work with you. Yeah? Even the people who pay least always want to work with competent people. And let me tell you, the opportunity to demonstrate your ability is a good payment. You see, because the moment you demonstrate, you are in the field, you're playing, and you can demonstrate that you're a good player in the field, somebody else who is willing to pay will see you there in the field and call you and hire you. So you must be competent. If you are not competent, there are enough players usually in the field, but not every one of them is known by the fans. But there are those ones that keep ringing in the mind. You want to be that particular person. So whenever you commit to a course, grow in your competence. And this finger, that where we put ring when people are wedding or something like that, it is for relationship. If you cannot build your chemistry with other people, if you are not able to work with other people, you're not going to make it anywhere. Nobody wants to work with people who can't work with others. Apparently, in the universities or in school, individualism is more of encouraged. You will do very few things as a team, except perhaps in the field, the co-curriculum. But academic generally is structured in such a way that you will do your things your own way. You are not supposed to copy. You are not supposed to do things together in a group. A few times people form groups, but generally you must work with others. You must build your chemistry so that you are able to feel comfortable working with others, and you are working together as a team. That is the only way results are achieved. And the last one, which I call charm, this little thing is that difference that you bring in the marketplace. What is this little difference that you as an individual makes you unique? This is where your character can come in. This is where perhaps your ability to write reports, maybe your ability to do presentations. When people are going to do presentation, people have crafted all the proposals and everything. They know that if we give it to Anne, for example, if we give it to Esther, if we give it to so-and-so, he will be able to present very well. And by the way, presentation skills are quite important when it comes to growing in the marketplace, in the workplace. Presentation skills, that is part of your leadership skills. So this little charm, what is it that will distinguish you among the rest? Could be your level of integrity. Yes? Could be your ability to innovate solutions. Could be your resilience. Yeah, the resilience we were talking about. Every other person will give up, but you are always focused. I remember a friend of mine, we used to conduct a lot of presentations together, and sometimes the PA or the projector would not be working, but time is going, so we would get started, but he's working on it, and he would always work on it until either the event is over or the projector is working, either, but it doesn't give up. It is either working or the event is over. And I learned a lot from him. You never quit until it's never over until it's over. You don't quit. And I learned that only only winners don't quit. Yeah, and quitters don't win. That's the way it goes. So as long as we're going to maybe build on our resilience, build on our positive mindset, build on our ability to work with people, this little thing that makes us different, that makes us stand out in the marketplace, could even be our dressing, could even be our the way we keep ourselves neat and things like that. That might just make the difference, and we must look for it, that which will set us apart. That is our charm. And so most important skills that all of us need to keep learning, each and every one of us needs to keep working on, include goal setting. Many times we are not taught to set goals. In fact, when we are in college or in schools, everything is set for us. Pass mark is 40% or 50% or 60%, or exams will start on this date and end on this date. The academic calendar will run like this, and everything else is set for us. Yeah, classes are from this time. So we are never taught how to set goals. And as a student going outside, remember, the moment you step out, you are on your own. You must start setting goals on your own. Most times, if you get into employment, we even forget that we need to learn how to set goals. And so we go with the general goals of the organization. Yes, I'm told to call 70 customers this week. I'm told to do this. I'm told to do this. That's it. We must learn to set our own personal goals. Goals to do with personal development, goals to do with financial, goals to do with family, goals to do with maybe environment or general contribution to the society and all that. We must be people who know how to set goals. And this is a skill, and it's a workshop that people go for. Even for 2 days, you're learning. Some other people, I learned that they would go for workshops for 1 whole week to learn how to set goals. Why? Because setting goals in that art and science has a lot to do with also mindset, which sometimes need to be rewired. Yes, and even the language that needs to be used. And sales, I know this is a surprise to some people that, well, maybe I'm doing engineering, why sales? This is something that is weird, yeah, that most people don't think sales is an important life skill. It's very important. I love to say that in our growth in leadership skills, it starts with our ability to sell. Remember, if people do not trust you, they won't buy anything from you. We love to say when we are teaching sales that people buy you before they buy from you, and then they buy from your organization. And as a leader, you always want people to buy you. And that's why if you stand on the streets and maybe your vice chancellor is also standing there, more people will buy from your vice chancellor because they already know him, love him, and like him and trust him. People buy because they know you, like you, and trust you. And buying does not necessarily mean exchange of goods and services and money. It means thinking the way you think. So if you're growing in leadership, you must sell your ideas, you must sell your vision, you must sell the values, you must sell everything. And if people cannot buy, then you cannot lead them. If you are going to work with people, they must buy you as somebody they can work with. And so your ability to sell is quite critical. Quite critical. And each one of us needs to know that and work on it. So I love to say that the first level of leadership is ability to sell, and then ability to lead, because they are all defined in the same way. It's influence. You're influencing people towards a particular cause. You're influencing them to buy a particular idea. You're influencing them to think a particular way. You're influencing them to think of a particular mission and something like that. So that is it. And after that, I usually talk of entrepreneurship. So leadership is something you work on day in, day out. You keep learning, you keep reading, you keep listening to people, keep listening to other people. And leadership is so wide, and inside there, I've therefore not talked about lots of other things, including emotional intelligence. How are you going to deal with pressure in the environment? How are you going to deal with failure? How are you going to deal with decision making? Because leadership is about thinking, it's about decision making, it's about taking responsibility. And there are lots of skills put in there that I'm now not going to talk about. But get to know that your ability to lead, including communication, all these things, influence, will always come in handy when you're growing in the marketplace. And that's why you may have a degree, but you're not growing, and then you're going to complain that in this company or in this particular institution, they have favoritism. They are just promoting people who don't even have degrees, or people who don't even have better qualifications, but they are leaving us here who are more qualified. It's because your leadership level hasn't reached where it is supposed to be. So if we haven't grown in our leadership level, we will be left with that. That promotion will always leave us. You see, and that is why we've got to keep working on that. In fact, somebody says, if there is one skill you are going to supposed to be working on throughout your life, it is your leadership. It will make you be able to do almost everything. Beyond your technical skills, you will always need leadership. And if you are going to earn more, you will always need leadership. You can be the best engineer, you can be the best doctor, you can be the best teacher, you can be the best whatever. But if you are not good in leadership, you will not go far. That is the way it is. Resilience, which I have talked about, you've got to learn how to bounce back even when you're beaten down. Sometimes I demonstrate this using a ball. If you hit a ball down, it will keep bouncing back. You do it again, it comes back. And I love to ask, how many times do you need to do that so that it gives up? You will do it for as long as you are not tired, because the ball will never be tired, and that's the person you want to be. You are resilient. The marketplace is not going to be as friendly as you may want it to be. But if you're resilient enough, if you thrive in solving problems, in chaos, you will be able to grow. Because you must love problems. Sometimes when I'm talking about problems and I tell people, you must love problems, they think I'm weird. But if there are no problems, then nobody requires you. You won't be needed. There must be a problem you're going to solve. And that's why we started by getting to know who you are, what brand you represent, what problem can you solve much better than any other person. You see, so we must learn resilience. We must be resilient people. Working with people, I cannot overemphasize this. Working with people, because there is no, unless recently, actually not recently, I even wrote this in my leadership book. When I was growing up, I had thought that athletes are the only people who can work as individuals. that they don't need a team. Until later, I learned that even them always work in a team. Even when they are in the course, they do it as a team. And even in preparing them, there are nutritionists, there are trainers, there are all sorts of people who are working with them in order to help them achieve their dreams, in order to help them achieve their goals. So if you cannot work with people, you are always going to break with this guy, you break with this guy, you break with that team, you break with this company. You will be everywhere and you will keep complaining. This person is not good. This boss is what? This boss is that. And we love to say that if Bob has a problem with everybody, guess where the problem is? Bob is the problem. So if we can't work with people, there is no room for us in the marketplace. Apparently, you will kill your customers, you will kill your suppliers. I love using the word kill because that means you do not want them again. They will do business with you once and they don't come again. And if you are working for a company and you keep helping them just to lose customers, guess how long they will keep you? Not very long. And financial literacy. Nobody teaches us about financial literacy in schools. Yes, you will have a BCom in finance or MBA in finance, but you still do not know much about the ways of money. Learn how to earn money, how to use money, how to take care of money. It is very, very important. And by the way, the beauty is all these things are being taught outside there. There is information all over. And even us at Live Your Dream, we help people to get all this information. Learn the ways of money. I made a big mistake in this. I made a lot of money when I was in college. The moment I joined the university, because my background was that I did not have people to take care of me. I solely was going to depend on loan. I've never seen pocket money in my life. And even going to the university was a miracle in itself because I took just 2 years, so to speak, in secondary school instead of 4. I was mostly home. And even when I was going back to school to do my Form 4, I had been home for more than a year. And I was supposed to go back to Form 3, but I insisted to be allowed just to do Form 4 because I really wanted to do it. I did not have school fees. But everywhere I was, I always thought of how do I survive? So when I reached the university, my problem was how do I survive in the university? And I started looking for what I could do. And I made quite some money doing some businesses here and there. But I had not learned the ways of money. So by the time I was finishing college, while I thought I would transition with my business outside college, it was impossible because I had squandered all the money. You see, I did not know financial planning. Financial literacy was not with me. And so I had to do some other things which I really did not want to do. But that is it. I learned it through mistake and I corrected it. And today I'm much better placed and I teach people about the same. So this is going to be very important. No matter how much you are being paid, if you do not know about this element of financial planning, personal finance management, you will always feel inadequate. You will never get enough. You will keep moving and keep blaming everybody else. That is a very important life skill. Otherwise, in conclusion, I'd like to say the following. One is you can do it. You have what it takes. You're young. You have the age on your advantage. And you can learn. If you know why, you can always get anyhow. R is given by T plus A, where R is results that we want, which we must be clear about, will be given by the thoughts that we think. And our thoughts are composed of our knowledge, level of knowledge. If we are getting a wrong result, either there is something we don't know or our attitude is bad, or there is something we are not doing right. And that is where activity comes in. Activity is what we do. Either we are doing something wrongly, or or our attitude is wrong, that is our feelings, or there is something we don't know. And so we can always go back to study until we get the right results. If you remember during the days of analog television, you could always tune the area until it receives clear signal. Otherwise, you do not blame the TV for displaying wrong results. You know where the problem is, and usually the problem is within. That's why it said, if there is no enemy within, the enemy without can do you no harm. In Swahili, they say kikulacho kinguoni mwako. Long time ago, I asked my mom what that meant, and she told me, you see, your enemy is always around you. No. she got it wrong. The enemy is within you. It is you. Yes, that is the person putting on your clothes. So you know where to check. R equals T plus A. You reap what you sow. You sow sparingly, you reap sparingly. You sow bountifully, you reap bountifully. There are no two ways about this. And so if we seek, we find. If we ask, we are given. If we knock, the door is opened for us. You reap what you sow. If you sow wrong things, you will only reap wrong things. You sow bad character, you will reap bad character, bad results. There is nothing good that comes from wrong input. There is nothing wrong that comes out of good input. And let's meet at the top. I wish you the very best. For people who would want to reach for more information, these are my contacts. pp@liveyourdream.co.ke. I have a website called otienopaulpeter.com, and most times, by the way, if you Google my name, Otieno Paul Peter, you will get almost every information. And that's my number there, 666-924. That is 0733. We provide talks, training, we provide team building, we provide business development services, among other things. Thank you very much, and I'd like to end it there. I allow questions.
Thank you, Paul Peter, for that insightful presentation. And I hope our students have been following. I can attest that it has been quite good. And thank you for that. You can ask questions for those who have questions, or you can type in the public chat. There's somebody, Catherine NJ, had added a point there. I don't know whether you can add something, Paul Peter. He said another crucial point is one should work on communication skills for people to understand you.
Yeah, that's exactly what I talked about when I talked about what is your charm, that little thing that will make the difference. And I said under leadership, there is going to be there are lots of skills that are bundled in there, and one of them critical is communication. How will you sell your idea to people? How will you convince them that you can work with them or for them if you cannot communicate? I've seen this enough times when I'm handling interviews with other people. Occasionally I'm called to help in interviews, and you realize that even application, people still do shorthands, and there is this problem. I don't know, it's only me maybe who feels uneasy with it. Some people write, they don't know the difference between I am, which is I am, the short form, which is I, then apostrophe, then M, and then AM. Yeah, one is not short form of the other. One is not replacement of the other. And you feel like people are very reckless with their communication. You cannot succeed far without that. You see, so communication is critical. It's part of the skills that you will need, and you need to be working on it. And you're not going to blame somebody for not knowing it. If your course did not entail that, you must learn it along the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Somebody's hand is up.
Peter.
Eunice Nyagodi.
Okay. Eunice. Eunice, do you have a question? Okay.
I hope they are able to unmute.
Yeah, one have to unmute himself or herself for him or her to speak, and the mic should be on. But I'm seeing most of the people are on hearing mode only. Okay, as we continue and as we come to the end, I would like just to request us to continue putting our details or registering in the shared notes forum. Kindly make sure you register there.
Wanjiru, you want to say something?
Yes, Otieno, thank you very much for the presentation. I just feel the need to emphasize on the aspect of brand because, yes, we keep saying young people, I keep telling young people that they are building their CV as they study. It's not a matter of you finishing fourth year or fifth year and you think you don't have experience. So, what are you becoming in the process of from first year to fourth year or fifth year, or if it's a diploma, 2 years, 3 years? What are you becoming? What kind of a person are you becoming? It's not just about the knowledge you're gaining and all that. It's about that process of becoming someone now who has the competence, as you clearly put in the fingers, someone who has their charm, someone who has built something that they can say, Otieno Paul can do one, two, three, can be trusted with one, two, three things. Even through social media, we are trying even to see how we can help students build their brand online because now you can't ignore the world of the digital media today. So if someone goes and searches uh, Wanjiru Kaburu or Catherine or Damaris, what will they find? Because you are what you talk, you're what you say. So if I'm to go to a platform and see what you write or debates you talk about or how you even say what you say, I can take a lot from, I can get to understand who really this Catherine is by reading your content. And now employers are looking for information about people online. And they are using that to interview you, to even determine will you even be shortlisted? Will they give you an opportunity to even now show up in person or not? So the aspect of creating your own brand, who do you want to be known as, and keeping in mind of who are you becoming, even as you continue gaining knowledge in whatever field or course you're studying is very, very critical. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Ajiro, for that response. Also, I believe that our students will be well prepared, not just for go to be employed, but actually to create jobs, to do something with their life. And there is a point I very much liked that Peter talked about, that if you have done a particular degree program, it does not mean necessarily you end up in that. But if you have done Bachelor of Education, whether arts or science, you end up in the classroom. What just means that if you have gone through the university, you have been trained, and actually you could channel your growth in whatever area you want to go after you have done your undergraduate. And therefore, probably whatever you are doing as a student, don't have the mindset that your program is useless, that what you are doing now is useless. No, it may form just the basis of what you become in the future. So I don't want to go back to, there are quite a number of points that are picked that are very much important, especially to our young people, even as we prepare for the world of work. I don't see any other question. We have kept time very well. We appreciate you for that. And I think Paul will continue being in touch. And I think on behalf of the Office of Career Services, feel appreciated that you have facilitated our webinar this evening. I don't know whether any final comments from Wajiro or from any of the students. Wajiro?
Mine is to say thank you to you, Otieno. Thank you for honoring our invitation and for agreeing to be our partner in this. And then I encourage our students for us to be able to help you better in this endeavor of preparing you. Engage us on areas, topics that you feel are very relevant to you and you're lacking knowledge or information or exposure, so that we don't just give you topics that we think are good for you, but that have been requested or you have shown interest in. So you can even write to us, our office, through this email, so that we are able to serve you better. Back to you, Dr. Ndoroge.
Okay, thank you. The email is careerservices@dkut.ac.ke that you can reach our office through that email. So thank you. Your final comment, Paul?
Yeah, mine is to also thank you very much for the opportunity to you've given me to share my passion. I love to say that people are always paid just by an opportunity. That is much, much more important. And so thank you very much for that. I always love talking to young people and I feel inspired to share with them. Another thing, just as Wanjiru has said, is today in the marketplace, there is more to do with headhunting than just blind application. So if you build your brand well, you'll be surprised. People will call you and ask you, would you like to work with us? But if you don't, nobody wants to work with you. That is it. You cannot be two people at the same time, as I said. You can only be one of you. So be very deliberate on whom you want to be. And this goes all the way into the name you use. Not that in Twitter you use this name, the other one you use this name, the other one. No, no, no. Be one person and build a brand you can defend, a brand you believe in. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best. And I know all of us have what it takes to be all that we can be. Live your dream.
Thank you, Paul. May God bless you. God bless all of us. And we believe that it will continue to be well with each one of us. So at that point, I wish to say thank you to all. And our webinar tonight on development of life skills and soft skills for the world of work comes to an end. Thank you and God bless you.